Live from the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
Stormy Thursday morning, Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613. Najee Wilkins, Craig Sager with us today. Crazy, guys. The storm is
here.
It's here. And what's incredible is what came in before the storm last night. I mean, look at North Carolina. I mean, the flooding there is tremendous. And, you know, the path, I'll tell you what, let's go in and put the path of the storm up. It is coming right over us. And it looks like it's going to be here early tomorrow morning. Most school systems will not have school tomorrow. There are quite a few today that called it off. Gwinnett, in fact, who's a county that typically is very aggressive, whether it's the weather or anything else. They've already called everything off. They called their games off. They called school off. They called all weekend activities. So it's, it's crazy. I mean, it really is. I mean, we've faced bad weather before, but I don't know if we've ever faced something like this. And really not knowing what's going to be here in the morning.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's kind of a lot of unknowns, and hopefully everybody stays safe. A lot of flooding I've been seeing kind of on the south side a little bit too. So really interesting. What you think?
Yeah,
Craig?
well, it was so hot this last weekend, so what we got yesterday had nothing to do with it, which is crazy. It's almost setting it for it. But the last time we really had a hurricane, I think that was 2017. This one's going to be interesting, and then, of course, we're going to have a ton of Monday games.
Yeah, we'll have a ton of Monday games, and there'll be a lot of rescheduling down the road. You know, we've got 6 weeks left. There are two built-in, or there were, because some of them have already used their built-in buys, but there are 2 weeks. We're going to bring Tim Scott, the new executive director from the GHSA, on. I talked to Tim yesterday. I called him. Actually, I sent him a text and said, just, give me a call when you get a chance, and I appreciate it. He did about an hour later. Tim, how crazy is it for you guys right now?
Well, everybody's pretty busy right now working with our schools and the teams and trying to make sure we get the games played and and be as safe as we can. And like you just said, we don't know what's coming, so we have to really make sure you watch that. And when you talk about that, you talk about officials having to change, dates and, sometimes transportation for school districts. I was on the phone last night with a superintendent, and that was a big thing, is making sure they can get transportation, where they're wanting to go as well.
Well, welcome to the Georgia High School Association, Tim.
It's been a full weekend, and
I know it has been.
Quite a few texts from coaches and athletic directors, principals, and some superintendents even.
And one of the things we spoke about yesterday, which is and people don't understand, we already have an official shortage anyway, and y'all are having to make certain movements on days and stuff just so we have enough officials for football games. But I mean, that's a big deal, because a lot of these guys, they're coming. One crew might be coming from 5 or 6 different areas, and their area might get hit worse than one of the other guys.
Oh, absolutely. And, region contests are taking place, and sometimes that's a really big deal. And, they want to use neutral officials. So, if you had a set of neutral officials on your original date and it gets canceled or you have to reschedule, then you have a tough time trying to find neutral officials sometimes for the next date.
Explain to everybody, Tim, what you mean. And you explained it to me yesterday with the Valdosta example, but tell everybody what you mean by neutral officials.
Well, sometimes when you have a big region game, the teams decide, hey, we won't use officials from our hometown or from our area for this game. We'll get somebody that's maybe from the Atlanta Association, or if you're in the Atlanta area, maybe you get somebody from a South Georgia Association, just to try to make both coaches and teams feel better, and that's mutually decided on by the coaches, and they do a really good job of trying to handle that and working that out with themselves, much like they're having to do all this scheduling now.
We're talking to Tim Scott, the new executive director for the Georgia High School Association. Tim, The other thing that's different this year with the reclass and everything is that there's power rankings and different things like that. So these teams, something that we ran into at Corky Kell, of course, was, the situation, the bus incident up in Rome. Rome couldn't play that game against Creekside. And then that Friday night, we had horrible weather, and Cass could not play Callaway. They ended up playing on Saturday. But games are going to have to be made up, correct?
Yeah, region games have to be made up, and so trying to figure that out. And you guys, I heard you mention earlier, a lot of Monday night games, so that's going to happen. There will be some Monday night games that are going to take place. When you do that, hopefully they can talk to whoever they're playing on that Friday and maybe bump that to a Saturday game, so they're not playing so close together. We hope we can work that out. And then in some cases, they may have to play if there's a mutual open day, a bye week that they both have in common, that they can move it to there if they need to.
And then I have a question. When a big school district like DeKalb or Gwinnett cancels all of school for like Thursday and Friday, what's the rule just with extracurriculars? And then how does like a city school within a big county, how does that impact whether the cancellation happens or not?
So Gwinnett County closes down. They'll have their own policies about, as a district, how they will handle their extracurricular activities. And I think in their case, they did close down all activities. But let's say there's a city school system, they have their own Board of Education and their own governing body that would cancel school for them and have their policies for their extracurricular activities if it's a separate city system.
Mr. Scott, I want to ask you a little bit about the other sports. Obviously, football is big here, but softball is another one that's kind of influenced with this as well. What's kind of the situation with that and teams helping make that up, especially with the playoffs right around the corner?
Well, I mean, that's the one. I talked to Don Core this morning early about that. We worry about how many games we'll lose and trying to make that up because playoffs are right here on us. And being able to get all that in and make sure they get their postseason rankings, because again, they need to play so they can have that postseason ranking as much as possible. But if they play a non-region game, it may be that non-region that we cancel it. And we've had to do that, like IJ, like you said earlier, we take that out where it doesn't count against any postseason rankings.
But Tim, let's go back to football for a second, though, because there's still some non-region games out there. And at the lower classifications, that makes a difference, correct? Because of the power, because of the points and everything.
Good, yes, sir. The points. Now, if it's canceled, then they just take it out, and it's instead of you divide by 10 or work with 10, you're working with 9.
9. Okay, so that's what you guys will do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The other question before I let you go, Tim, and we're talking to Tim Scott, the executive director of the Georgia High School Association on the Georgia High School Sports Daily on Peachtree Sports Network. Tim, I think that, I've been around long enough. I started at the AJC in 1985. But the one thing I have learned through the years is it's a lot better being safe than sorry. And, I think the GHSA, especially since COVID, because COVID was such a hard hitter for everybody, having buses on the road, sometimes, football and other sports have to be secondary to just reality and being pragmatic about the situation.
Oh, absolutely. Safety is first. And that's why we really like for our local school districts to work things out, among themselves, because they know their own situations. Take an example, this hurricane. If you've got a particular community that maybe be in housing that could maybe not weather the storm, they may need to relocate. That's going to be different than someplace that they could weather the storm. And so each of those superintendents and principals in those areas know that area well, and we want them to make sure they make the decisions that are safe, and we use some common sense as we discuss and reschedule our contest.
Well, Tim, I want to appreciate you coming on. I know your phone's been ringing and will continue to ring for the next 48 hours. But we want to thank you for coming and wish you the best, okay?
Hey, thanks, IJ. I appreciate it, guys, and thank you for all you do to cover and share information.
Thanks, Tim. You know, it's interesting. I mean, there were some games played last night. I think they were smart because they played in the rain, but not in any storms. We'll go over, you know, some of those scores and stuff like that. We got a pack-filled show. We've got to make a decision in the next hour or so on our game. I'll give you an update right now. Blessed Trinity, we have Blessed Savannah Christian supposed to come up. That's a big game. Yeah. We've got to make a decision pretty soon. I mean, our decision is not just the safety part of it, but it's also the fact that, you know, we have crews that are coming from all over the metro area, and we have, I mean, look, here in Roswell, we might be okay, but, you know, those out in Lawrenceville or to the east of us, it looks like it's going to be worse to the east of us. You know, they might not be able to get there.
That's why I wanted to ask them about the big counties, because this week just so happens we have a private school hosting going up against a private school, so their decision isn't going to be dictated by Gwinnett County or Fulton, and so that's why we really are in an interesting situation.
Yeah, well, I talked to Ricky Turner, who's the athletics director for BT, and their issue that they're looking at is they've got homecoming, they've got their Hall of Fame, they've obviously got us with television, they've got a big game against Savannah Christian. That's a long drive, by the way, all the way up, even if they're not getting rain. So, you know, there's just a lot of factors that are going to go into this, but the big factor is, and that's the unknown. We have no idea what's going to happen starting, you know, early this evening until 5 or 6 in the morning. I mean, we could wake up and our electricity's down. We're hoping that we'll be able to do the show tomorrow and everything, but we just, you know, we don't know right now. All right, coming up, we will talk more about the cancellations. We'll talk about the games that were played last night. We've also got Brett Greenberg, who's going to be doing a recruiting report for us. A lot coming up, so stay with us on the Peachtree Sports Network.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
The Georgia Sheet Metal JETC equips apprentices with the knowledge and skills required to start a rewarding career in the sheet metal industry with programs in HVAC, industrial welding, and testing, adjusting, and balancing. Training is 100% free and allows apprentices to earn as they learn. Journeymen graduate with no student debt and have the potential to earn more than most college graduates. Visit our website to learn more about this opportunity at careersinsheetmetal.com.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613. I want to thank the people at IBEW for the support and the rest of the unions for the show. We had Tim Scott on from the Georgia High School Association, the new executive director. He explained a lot of things. Couple of things I do want to point out before we get to our recruiting report. Hurricane Helene is definitely impacting a lot. So the notable games right now for Friday night that we know that are canceled are Central Carrollton and Jonesboro. That's been canceled. Thomas County Central against Lee County. That was a huge game, guys. That's going to be played on Saturday. Callaway versus Pike has been postponed. We also have after-school activities canceled in all these counties, which means whether it's football, volleyball, softball, cross-country, whatever. Clayton County, Paulding County, Carroll County, Clark County, Fulton County, Jackson County, DeKalb County, and I've got a note on DeKalb I'm going to read you in a second, but also Gwinnett County, correct? So yep. Gwinnett County and Clayton County have postponed all activities. And in fact, Gwinnett and Clayton will have no games this weekend at all. All their rescheduling will be done, after this weekend. Real quick on the DeKalb County just came out. We got a note from Mark Brock, guys, that the 14 postponed games rescheduled. They're going to be rescheduled for Saturday and Monday. Real quickly, they'll play 5 games on Saturday. That'll be McNair, Cross Keys, Lamar County will play Flint River. Halford Stadium's going to have a doubleheader. That's going to be Columbia and Douglas County. Lithonia is going to be meeting Druid Hills. Dunwoody will host undefeated Region 4 5A foe Decatur, who's 5-0 at North DeKalb Stadium. That game will be at 3 o'clock. You can follow everything at scoreatl.com. Our guys did a great job last night with the scores, and we'll go over them in a few minutes. All right, let's get to Brett Greenberg of 247 Sports. Najee, you want to lead us into this one?
Yes, sir. What's going on, my guy? How you doing?
What's up, you guys? Thanks for joining me. Came in, saw the studio, I think it was a week ago. Beautiful in there. Hoping to get in there when there's not a hurricane coming, but glad to join you guys over Zoom.
For sure, man. So it is a big weekend. Obviously, we'll talk about the Magic Pair in just a little bit, but I know you talked about some major recruits. I've been watching you on Twitter, and you pointed out a really big checklist of guys going to be there, man. So give us the 411. What big Alabama guys are going to be in attendance at this game?
Yeah, it's kind of a who's who for this game. You've been kind of leading up to this all summer. Most of the guys you talk to for a long time would say, hey, I want to get to this game. And I've got over 70 guys on the confirmed list on Bama 247 right now. Whole lot of guys from the Peach State and you guys' area. Obviously, Alabama's got 2 commits, part of its number 2 recruiting class from Georgia, and Luke Metz and Daryl Johnson. They'll both be back in town, which if you're an Alabama fan, it's good to have your commits back in town just to get closer with other guys and other coaches and things like that. There was some news. Justice Terry was supposed to be back in Tuscaloosa for his second game visit of the year, but as you guys, I'm sure you talked to earlier in the show, a lot of games have been changed around, moved, canceled, things like that. So his game, Manchester High School, is actually going to be played on Saturday, so he won't be able to make it to town, which I know some Alabama fans are upset about, but he's still playing to get there. But as far as 2025 goes, there's been a whole lot of offers been handed out from Alabama, and certainly guys from Georgia. You're looking at guys like Antavius Richardson. He's a USF commit. He picks up an offer from Alabama after a game visit. He's set to be back in town. He's, listed as, going to be a safety, and that's a position of need for Alabama. And then you look and you kind of talk about Justice Terry alluded to it, the need for D linemen, and not just Alabama, but for Georgia, for every school. It's just there's not a lot of them around the country. You're looking at guys like Christian Ingram, 6'6", 280 pounds, out of Newton High School, picked up Alabama, Georgia, Florida this month. So he's kind of resetting his recruitment. He'll be back there this weekend. He'll be back for his first time this weekend. Another guy is Tim Griffin at Alcovia High School, another guy who's kind of seen his recruitment explode a little bit. He was in town 2 weeks ago. He'll return for the Georgia game this weekend. Another guy we're looking is Grayson High School, Joseph Mabachu. I probably butchered the name a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but he's committed to Florida right now. And, there's a little bit of uncertainty going down in Gainesville, and anytime there's a little bit of, what's going on, it's something to look out for, especially with guys committed. And he's a guy who's gotten Georgia, Texas, Alabama, countless other top programs offered him since his senior season has begun. So he's kind of resetting things as well. He'll be in there for a first-time visit. And then kind of wrap up the 2025 classes, Chase Linton, a guy that was committed, I believe, to Rutgers reopened his commitment. All signs right now point to Georgia. After this trip, he'll be at Georgia for an unofficial. He'll be at Georgia for an official visit the following weekend. But you never know. Once you get these guys on campus, could give them something to think about. But that's as far as 2025 goes. And I could keep going for a while. You look at 2026 as well. Georgia, a lot of guys. You got Xavier Griffin, who I'm sure has been talked about plenty of times on the show. I see on Twitter all the time as well. He's a USC commit out of Gainesville High School. His mom and his mom are actually from Alabama. They grew up in Alabama. That's something to kind of maybe keep in the back of the mind of Alabama fans. He continues to have communication with the Crimson Tide. And, we've seen Georgia guys maybe commit a little bit early out west. And then, they end up committing to schools like Alabama, Georgia, and other SEC schools. You look at a guy like Michael Williams, kind of a perfect example for that. And it was able to confirm this morning Tyler Atkinson, number 1 linebacker in the country, will be there as well. So, like I said, kind of at the top, it's a who's going to be there, and these sidelines are going to be crowded.
Appreciate you, Brett. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm sorry. We're talking to Brett Greenberg, Bama 247 Sports. Brett, one of the issues, though, like us, we're scrambling. We've got a Falcons game that we're doing a tremendous amount of work for on Sunday. We've got all our stuff tonight and tomorrow night. We got people closing. We have no idea. I can't imagine what they must be going through trying to get these kids in town, because I don't think it's going to be real easy. Some of them are going to have to fly in. Some of them, airports are going to be shut down across the South. We have no idea exactly what's going to happen tomorrow, but I got to imagine there's going to be some serious juggling for Saturday's game for these recruits.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I really wouldn't want to be the recruiting coordinators trying to get all these travel plans in place, even on a normal weekend. But then you throw in all these weather plans and things like that. I'll be continually checking in with guys, making sure they're getting to town or making sure their plans are still on track and things like that. But then, you kind of just throw in what's going on in Tuscaloosa. Georgia's in town. You've got, the former president coming to town, and God knows who else. It's just going to be a crowded Tuscaloosa crowded campus, and it should make for a pretty good environment.
Brett, talk a little bit about the game itself. This is a huge game. Obviously Nick Saban's not there. Georgia's won, 40-something games. The only team that they've really lost to in the last 3 years has been Alabama twice. They beat them in the national championship game. They lost to them in both SEC championship games. Just give us your feeling on the game itself.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I kind of go back and forth. I'm kind of laughing at myself. I'm talking to these recruits and commits, trying to get predictions for them, kind of put it on the spot. But, you're putting me on the spot. I'm starting to lean towards Alabama, and I think kind of it's just because it's in Tuscaloosa. It's, I think Kalen DeBoer can kind of thank the schedule makers for making this a game at home and not in Athens. I think we're talking about a little bit of a different story. But yeah, like you said, historically, Alabama has been the biggest thorn or only thorn in Kirby Smart's side. And you could maybe make an argument that there's a little bit more pressure on Kirby Smart to maybe change that narrative. But when you really look at it, I think it's kind of the low-hanging fruit here. But the game's going to be won in the trenches. You look at Alabama's season so far, a little bit of uncertainty at the offensive line group. You go to Wisconsin, Caden Proctor comes back. It kind of looks like that offensive line looks how it's supposed to be put together. Georgia defensive line has a couple of injuries that hasn't looked as it used to be kind of historically. They still got the guys and the talent, of course. So I think it's just, is Alabama's offense going to be able to give Jalen Milroe time, and is he going to be able to make that one or two big throws that he kind of, you almost assume he's going to make against big time opponents. So it's I kind of continue to go back and forth, but I'm leaning Alabama as of Thursday afternoon.
And Brett, you're really familiar with Georgia's roster. Maybe a player that scares you most in this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's a guy, and assuming he's healthy, is Michael Williams. I remember back when I was interning with you guys, I think he was still in high school, or was a freshman at Georgia. He's just an absolute freak. He's a guy that was committed to USC early, comes back to Georgia, kind of that long lineage of Georgia edge rushers. He looks like a guy who's going to be a NFL first-round pick. If he's going off the edge and he's going against a Wilkin Formby or Elijah Pritchett, guys who have struggled a little bit, and he's continued getting the quarterback, I think that can make a big difference in this game.
Well, Brett, we appreciate you coming on. We wish you the best. It's going to be a crazy weekend up there, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Brett Greenberg of 247 Sports covers Alabama, does a great job. Used to intern here at Score Atlanta. You're watching the Peachtree Sports Network.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
All right, I.J. Rosenberg, Najee Wilkins, Craig Sager, Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613. News from us, our game tomorrow night, our TV game on the Peachtree Sports Network was just canceled. I was just given a call by Ricky Turner, the athletics director for Blessed Trinity. Of course, we were supposed to do the Savannah Christian at BT game tomorrow night. Savannah Christian, all the schools down in Savannah have canceled class tomorrow. So despite the fact that Savannah Christian is a private school, they're going to go with what is happening with the public schools down there. So we will not be doing the game tomorrow night on Peachtree TV. I think Georgia Public Broadcasting, their Buford game against Collins Hill yesterday was canceled. So better safe, guys. Yeah, better safe than sorry. We'll talk to the Savannah Christian coach Larry, coach in the last segment. So we'll ask him some questions. But I just wanted to give you an update on that. Najee?
Yes, sir. So, guys, we're going to be joined by Cherokee Bluff. Get the latest on what's going on with their game. They're 5-0 to start the season. We had them featured in our Cork Day for the Classic last year. So we're excited to have head coach Tommy Jones on. Coach, how you doing today?
Hey, fantastic. Thank you guys for having me.
Certainly, Coach. And obviously, we'll ask you about some of the updates with your team and in the game this week. But I do want to ask you, 5-0 start, Coach. What's kind of been the difference? What did you see in the spring and the summer that kind of showed you, okay, this team has a potential chance to be good this year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know if there are any answers that people always want to know, sort of the secret sauce and what it is it takes to get off to a good start. I think that's key in high school football. We know we have a great group of kids. They work extremely hard. They've been focused, resilient. It was important to them, and a good combination of some seniors that have played a lot of football during the course of their career, a couple of them 4-year starters, and you mix that in with a good group of younger kids as well that have had to step up and play for us. And fortunately, we've had some really good locker room chemistry, and we talk a lot about making sure we're the best we can at winning the intangibles, the things that we can control. And so, if there's anything to point to, it's been a great group of kids that are really hardworking, that have bought in, that have been really good with those intangibles.
Certainly. And then, Coach, our game just got canceled, Savannah Christian versus Blessed Trinity. So what is the latest with you guys' game for this upcoming week? If it has been canceled or postponed, what's kind of the timeline you guys, plan to play the next opponent?
Yeah, we were set to go play just an outstanding Oconee County team. We feel like we're in an extremely tough region, and a number of teams that are just excellent, and they're at the top of that list. But like with a lot of other games right now in the state of Georgia, ours was postponed. We're going to make that up. We have a common bye week. We have an even number of teams in the region, so we all chose a common bye week, and that's going to allow us to make our game up during our fall break common bye week. I believe that's a Thursday, September 17th at 7:30. We'll be going back to Oconee County to play that game.
We're talking to Tommy Jones, the head coach for Cherokee Bluff. Coach, talk about your region. Tonight or tomorrow night was supposed to be the first game for you guys against Oconee County. Good region. It's you guys, Oconee County, West Hall, Monroe area, Jefferson, East Hall. That's a tough road to go through for you guys. Undefeated in non-region play. And now, it's going to be a very, very interesting last 5 or 6 weeks for this region.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, I don't think there's any second guessing that our region is one of the tougher AAA regions in the state of Georgia. I think you've got 3 or 4 schools that have been ranked somewhere during the course of the season. Jefferson, a perennial power that many picked to win the state championship this year. Monroe area has gotten off to a great start. They've been ranked as high as 3. Oconee County might have played the toughest non-region schedule anywhere in AAA, and you see what they were able to do last week to a number 2 ranked Stevens County. Just pretty much beat them really bad, and then you look at West Hall and East Hall that are off the best starts they've had maybe in 15 to 20 years. Both of them playing outstanding football. So we would like to think this is a very tough region, and you come into it, you hope you're battle tested, you hope you're ready to go, but week in and week out, you're really going to run the gauntlet.
Coach Jones, I have a question about your season opener. We're halfway through the season. You guys faced Lumpkin County to start things off. I talked about Cal Faulkner yesterday, their athletic quarterback. You guys were able to get that big win. How pleased were you with that victory? And then how has the team been able to grow after that impressive win week 1?
Yeah, that was a crazy night. That was another one of those nights where, the storms hit around halftime. We had a long delay. We were fortunate to where we were able to come out after that long delay and make enough plays to finish off what we consider to be a really good win against a really good football team. We have the utmost respect for Lumpkin County, Coach Webb, what Cal Faulkner is able to do. Ironically, I coached at Lumpkin County for 7 years. I still remember the day that Cal was born. His mom was a teacher with us at the time, and I just think he's just a tremendous football player, tremendous talent, who has a crazy bright future ahead of him at Georgia Tech. It was a great win for us. And obviously, anytime you haven't had the success in any span like we haven't the past couple of years, it was very important for us to get off to a good start, and that was a good night for the Bears.
Hey, Tommy, how was this reclass for you for Cherokee Bluff? Were y'all happy with with y'all's situation? I know you're in a tough region, but as far as classification, did everything work out sort of the way you guys wanted it?
Ironically, I think the main reason that the state wanted to reclass was to create some smaller regions. We went from an 11-team region, counting a couple schools that were played a non-region schedule, to a 6-region schedule. Extremely tough. Obviously, we went down from 4A to AAA. I think there's a lot of comparability to the region we're in, to the region we're in now. But it is outstanding, with Jefferson and Oconee and Monroe and like I said, West Hall and East Hall playing great football as well. So the hard part about the reclass, when you have a smaller region, which we didn't expect to happen, is to find the non-region games you have to find. That's always really challenging.
Well, Tommy, we want to wish you the best of luck. Of course, you started back in 2006 at Lumpkin County, then went to Tequila for a few years, had a couple of really good teams there, have had some double-digit win seasons in 20 and 21 at Cherokee Bluff. You're 5-0 this year. We want to wish you the best. Stay dry for us, okay?
Thank you so much for having us. Go Bears.
All right. Coach Tommy Jones from Cherokee Bluff. A lot coming up. We're going to give you a lot more updates as far as the cancellations for tomorrow night.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back, we're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
The Mechanical Trades Institute is an opportunity towards personal financial freedom through hands-on and rewarding work. Our school is completely free and gives apprentices the knowledge and skills required to gain access to a lifelong career path. Apprentices learn pipe fitting, plumbing, mechanical service, and welding. They earn money as they learn and graduate with no student debt. Start a career with the Mechanical Trades Institute and change your financial future.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 13. Remember, you can watch this show on YouTube TV, Peachtree Sports Network, Zine, the local CBS Sports app as well. A couple cancellations. We're going to get into our composite rankings here in just a moment. But, Ajay, you had a quick update on some of the more cancellations, correct?
Yeah, well, I just want to mention again that our game tomorrow night, our television game, our Peachtree Sports Network game, has been canceled. Savannah Christian has made the decision not to come up. So that game's canceled. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow with the weather. The best way for you guys to follow this is to go to scoreatl.com. We'll have minute-by-minute updates for you guys on all the games. Like I said, I don't think anybody knows exactly where the storm's going to hit, who's going to be without power, what trees are going to be falling. But a lot of games are canceled. I don't think there's going to be many games tomorrow night. So that's where we're at, and we'll continue giving you updates throughout the score. And like I said, the best thing, go to our platform, go to our, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, scoreatl.com. We'll have all the information for you. So right now we're going to go to our rankings composite and talk a little bit about that. We're also, I do want to come back, Ashley, our producer, and Max and Hayden. I do want to come back to a couple of things that we missed earlier that I do want to mention about the Georgia High School Football Daily. But we'll go to the composite ranking right now. Craig, 6A is yours.
All right, we'll start with that. And I don't know when we'll be able to have the Week 7 rankings out next week. It might be Tuesday, but we'll figure it out. In 6A, I thought the interesting thing that happened this week, Camden County cracked the top 5 for the first time. They moved ahead of Mill Creek. Collins Hill was actually number 5 last week, so that's just how impressive Camden County's been. They're continuing to get it done against some out-of-state opponents, and of course, their Region 1 rivals are in there, Valdosta, Colquitt, and then Lowndes is getting votes for the first time this week. You see them down at number 12, tied with Colquitt County.
Well, Craig, it's interesting looking at that for a second. The Maxwell rankings don't even have Campton or Collins Hill in there.
Yep.
But to me, those are top 10 teams, aren't they? They have proven them. Both have proven themselves.
Exactly. And those are based strictly off historical computer models. And that's why even last week you saw Cedar Grove heavily favored over Douglas, where we both felt that Douglas had the edge last week. So that's based on all history. But yeah, in all the human polls, Camden County is above.
All right, let's go to 5A.
All right, so here you have 5A, Milton at 1, 2 Thomas County Central, 3 Lee County, 4 Coffee, 5 Hughes, 6 Gainesville, 7 Roswell, 8 Houston County, 9 Rome, 10 Brunswick, 11 Decatur getting some votes at 5-0, and Sprayberry, number 12, getting some votes as well. But here, a quick standout, Thomas County Central leaps past Lee County. So that was obviously a big one right there, seeing them kind of leap up as well. And Hughes is still, I'm very high on, so they got top 5 ranking. I'm not putting them besides number 2 until I see something different. And it's definitely going to be based on the results of the Thomas County Central Lee County game that's supposed to be played on Saturday. So that's going to have a big result in the rankings as well.
Well, and Najee, what's interesting about 5A is, right now in the composite rankings, Gainesville's down at 6. A lot of these teams are down set. You got a couple teams, Lee County and Coffee, Thomas County Central down south. Of course, Milton and Hughes, Gainesville up here, Roswell, Houston County, another team down south. That's the thing right now. We don't know when North and South come together. Mm-hmm. We have no clue
what's going to happen.
You're right. And, to me, I think Gainesville still looks like a really good football team. You agree?
Yeah, they had a big win last night against, obviously, Johns Creek. I think they're a top team. Obviously, they just played a better team in Carrollton. I don't think we should fault them too much. That's going to be a good team.
All right, let's go down to 4A, Craig.
All right, in 4A, Marist, they're so close to being consensus. It is my fault. I have them at number 2 by 1. I have North.
By the way, Alan Chadwick's going to be on next segment. He said he wants to talk to you in particular.
All right, we'll talk about it. I'm sorry, Coach. No, I really like Marist, though. They're number 2. For me, North Oconee, they've just been so impressive. But Benedictine, they continue to move up. Cartersville, I think they're playing outstanding football. And then Eastside, watch out for them. They are a team that not many people had ranked early, but undefeated, blowouts every single game. Perry, they're hanging on at number 10. They've got 2 losses. But then the new team, Stars Mill, Central Carroll, they've got a big head-to-head matchup coming up. Ola's getting votes. They debuted in the AJC poll this week. And then Cambridge, that's a team that is starting to pick up more votes with what Tyler Jones is doing right there. And I think they have a chance, like a Hughes, like these other teams, to get better as the season goes on.
And don't forget, and you've got them in there, but some of them don't. And they hold it against them because they're 2-2. But don't forget about Creekside.
Mm-hmm. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Creekside was in the state championship last year. They get better. I know they lost. Coach's son is out for the season with a broken leg. But don't forget about them. All right, let's go down to 3A, Naj.
All right, so 3A, you got Sandy Creek, Peach County, Jefferson, LaGrange, Douglas, Atlanta, Northwest Whitfield, Cherokee Bluff, 8 Westover, 9 Cairo, 10 Monroe area also getting votes. Long County, who I have pretty high in my poll, Calhoun, Mary Persons, and then Cedar Grove. So for me, it seemed like the biggest jump this week was LaGrange. Them going all the way up. They're a number 4 team now, according to the composite. And the Peach County with a near flawless 2 across the board, just only looks like Maxwell and also Max Preps giving them 3s. But I think Peach County is the team to beat with Marquise Westbrook. DJ Hudson has been impressive. And then one more standout, Cherokee Bluff, 5-0. We just talked to their head coach. I actually ranked them this week. Wanted to get them some love. They had coming off an idle week, so we'll see what happens as far as going forward with that program. But Caden Thompson is a name to know for Cherokee Bluff, having an outstanding season, leading them in receiving yards this year. But that's the biggest kind of movement in the composite.
Najee, let me ask you about Douglas. We saw them in Corky Kell. They're good. They don't have any depth though.
No.
I mean, if they're gonna run into a Sandy Creek or a Peach County, try to hang on for 4 quarters is going to be tough for a team like that. At the same time, though, a lot of talent on that team.
Yes.
And even though they do have 2 losses, they're high in the ratings because they played some really good football teams.
Yeah.
I mean, is a team like that, which is number 5 right now, we don't have them ranked. I mean, but could a team like that cause some problems in the playoffs?
I think they could, IJ. When you look at the totality of it, they could probably make a run to a quarterfinals. Very young team. They got, obviously, Jonte Gilbert, but Casey Barnes is going to be one to know. They have a lot of athletes. When you have athletes, you always have a chance to potentially make some noise, and I think they will have a chance to do that.
All right, let's go down to 2A, Craig.
All right, in 2A, Pierce County had a very close win last week over Brooks County. That was one where Caden McGatha pretty much scored every touchdown for them, also played defense. Morgan County is holding on strong at number 2. Carver's continuing to get some love, 46 points as their highest total yet. Appling County is a team that I really like in the top 5. They're going to play a really difficult schedule. And then what I wanted to point out, though, we mentioned the game between BT and Savannah Christian. That is a non-region game, so they really have an opportunity, if they wanted to, just say, you know what, the game didn't happen and cancel it. I'm not saying that's what the deal is, but what did Tim Scott say? With the power rankings, they're going to affect 3A down. They're going to take the 10-game total and pretty much find like an average and plug it into that missing spot. I don't know what it would be like with a softball or volleyball where they play more than 10 matches, but that's something to watch for some of these non-region games because there are regions in the lower classes that don't have 8 teams. They're small regions, so we might see some cancellations, but that is going to impact the power rankings.
All right, before we go down to Class A Division I, a team, though, that I still think has, 2 teams to look out for. Burke County, always look out for Burke County. But the other team that I think by the end of the season is going to be good is Callaway. I like what they have. I like their coaching staff. All right, let's go down to Class A Division I.
All right, so here we go. We got Toombs County, Thomasville, Dublin, Fitzgerald, Fannin County, Dodge County at 6, Northeast Macon, Rabun County, Lamar County, Bremen, Worth County, Jeff Davis, Commerce, and Chattooga. I do want to mention Chattooga really quick. They have been on us on social media saying, why would we not mention, Craig mentioned them yesterday, Jaden Cook, who has over 1,200 yards rushing this year. They are 5-0. They're going to be a team to continue to watch. Only ranked on 680 The Fan currently right now, so that's going to be a team. And then really quickly, I did want to mention also Dublin. Dublin kind of low in some of the rankings, but I have them high in my poll. They're going to be a team to beat. And then Northeast Macon, obviously, with Nicholas Woodford, what he's been doing this season for that program, they're going to be one to watch as well.
And how crazy is the city of Thomasville right now? A lot of times you don't see a year where Thomas County Central and Thomasville are at the very top of their rankings. All right, let's go down to Class A Division II.
All right, so Class A Division II got Irwin County, Bowden, Manchester, Clinch County, Brooks County, Treon, Greene County, Lincoln, Metter, Early County, Jenkins County, Seminole, and then McIntosh. So I really like out of this group. Treon's going to be a team to watch. They continue to rise up in my rankings. I have them the highest rated out of everybody at number 5. They've been impressive all season, have a really good quarterback who made my top performers list, I think, this past week. Manchester has a big game coming up as well. Can never sleep on there with Justice Terry. And then Clinch County is my last one to watch for as well.
And let's go down to Class 3A through
Clinch
A
and
private.
Irwin were supposed to play last night, but that one got pushed back. That would have been a heck of a matchup. And Irwin, their offense this year, they're known for defense, but they can put up points. All right, Class 3A to A private. I mentioned this is the one that's going to be completely decided by these power rankings, so hopefully all these teams will get their games in. Team that I am really high on, that you look at their schedule, they've been playing outstanding, much better than last year, is Lovett, sitting at number 6, undefeated. They have a big matchup against Holy Innocents this week. We'll see if it gets in. GAC, a team that opened up 0-3. Honestly, it looked like a dreadful start, but they've suddenly put together 2 straight wins. And then Darlington, they had the big victory over Whitfield Academy last week to get into the rankings, and then held on for a big region win against Haralson County. So Darlington is looking to bounce back and earn themselves a spot in this top 10.
All right, so that's our composite rankings report. We'll update you last segment with all the cancellations and all the updates here on the Georgia High School Sports Daily. All right, we're back on the Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW 613. IJ Rosenberg here with Najee Wilkins and Craig Sager, Score Atlanta Studios in Roswell. Rainy day, going to get worse. Have no idea what we'll wake up to, but I will tell you this, that most of the games tomorrow night have been canceled. The best way to keep up with that is to go to scoreatl.com. We'll be continuing to update everything, the postponements, the rescheduling, and everything like that. Couple of notes that we missed from our first segment because of I wanted to get straight to everything that's going on this weekend with high school sports. Matt Eli steps away as the head football coach at Mount Perrin. He said that he was stepping away from his role to take care of a personal matter, which, quote, requires his immediate attention. That's according to the Marietta Daily Journal. So we want to wish him the best and hope everything goes well with him. We did have some scores from last night. We'll go over them. They're also on our board at scoreatl.com. I want to thank Graham and Hayden and Max of the Score staff for doing a great job last night for all the games that were played and the games that were canceled. Warner Robins, a 36 win, scored 36 points to beat Wayne County, who had 3. Seminole County 28-12 over Early. Gainesville came here to Johns Creek, just up the street, and beat 148-0. No surprise there. Brooks County 49-0 over Turner County. And my old school goes to 4-2. They beat Tri-Cities Lakeside DeKalb 14-6. So a big win for the Vikings. In the daily this morning, of course, they had a lot of information on some of the cancellations and some of the big games that were supposed to be played but no longer will be played. But the trivia, Tennessee's Joshua Josephs is this week's SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week after he recorded 3 tackles and a tackle for loss and forced 2 fumbles, one that he recovered at the Volunteers' 1-yard line in the 25-15 victory over Oklahoma last week. For what county, which Cobb County High School did Josephs play? Did y'all know that, guys?
No, we both guessed wrong.
Yeah, I said Hillgrove, but North Cobb.
Yeah, it's North Cobb. So he was at North Cobb, which sort of shows you. I mean, they come from everywhere.
All
I mean,
over.
it's amazing. Today's trivia for the Georgia High School Sports Football Daily. What region that is opening region play this week has 4 5-0 teams?
That would be Class 6A, Region 1.
Bingo. I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. We've got our Hall of Fame coming up. Excited about that. That's going to be late October, Saturday, the Saturday that Florida and Georgia do not play. We're going to have a lot. It's going to be great. The inductee that was featured in the Daily today was Kent Hill. Kent Hill is a great player at Americus. He also was a really, really good player at Georgia Tech. He will go into the Hall with 29 other inductees. Mackle Harris also played at Americus. So we feature him. Kent Hill was also a very good NFL player, one of the better NFL players of his time to come from Georgia, 5-time NFL Pro Bowler. So you can check that out every day about what's going on. We'll have a lot more information on that. Corky flag, we'll talk about that in 1 second. Guys, I wanted to ask you before we go, just a crazy week. I mean, but we just have to make it through. I know that, it's disappointing that we can't do the Savannah Christian game because I was really looking forward to watching Savannah Christian play.
Yeah, I thought we had one of the most interesting matchups in the state this week. Everyone wanted to see Savannah Christian on TV in person. Elijah Griffin, the outstanding defensive line, but it looks like we'll have to wait and continue to cover these games if they happen tomorrow, Saturday, Monday.
And we'll announce our game for next Friday on Monday. But we've got a good one. 2 teams have never been on TV before. Yep. So that will be a lot of fun as we move along. It's going to be a crazy weekend for Score Atlanta. We've got everything going on with high school. Of course, we do a tremendous amount of work for the Falcons. Falcons play the Saints on Sunday. And we've got the Corky Flag, the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic Flag Tournament next week. That'll be Wednesday at West Forsyth. You can buy tickets there on the QR code. You can also go to scoreatl.com and buy tickets as well there. We are diving into flag football. We are very, very excited about this. We did a 7-on-7 tournament, which was great, over at West Forsyth. These games will start, they will be televised Wednesday night on the Peachtree Sports Network. Wednesday night we got that, then we got the Falcons on Thursday at Tampa Bay, and then Friday night we'll have our Peachtree TV. Craig, Najee, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we'll have power tomorrow to do this show.
Got to do our statewide selections.
Yeah, we do. All right, guys. Hey, everybody stay safe and please stay dry.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back, we're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
The Mechanical Trades Institute is an opportunity towards personal financial freedom through hands-on and rewarding work. Our school is completely free and gives apprentices the knowledge and skills required to gain access to a lifelong career path. Apprentices learn pipe fitting, plumbing, mechanical service, and welding. They earn money as they learn and graduate with no student debt. Start a career with the Mechanical Trades Institute and change your financial future.